So we talked about the prostate cancer or the benign and malignant changes in the prostate gland, how we can state the prostate cancer, and what are the different tests that can be used for the diagnosis of the prostate cancer, how significant is the prostate specific antigen in the diagnosis, what is prostate specific antigen, what's the significance of different levels of prostate specific antigen for the prostate cancer. So after discussing all that, let's move to another very common condition of the prostate gland, and that's the BPH or benign prostate hypertrophy. As the name shows, it's a benign hypertrophy. It's not malignant, it's not cancerous. So it's a benign hypertrophy of the prostate gland. Very, very common condition in the elderly males. So in this section, we will talk about what is benign prostate hypertrophy, how we can treat this condition, and what are different surgical approaches for the management of benign prostate hypertrophy. BPH is pathologic process that contributes to the development of lower urinary symptoms in men. So as I mentioned, it's a common condition, it's a pathological process, it's benign hypertrophy of the prostate, it's not malignant, but it can lead to malignancy with different changes that can occur. So BPH is a pathological process that leads to different urinary symptoms in men. Obstructive symptoms are like urinary hesitancy, straining, weak stream, terminal dribbling, prolonged voiding, incomplete emptying. Irritative symptoms are urinary frequency, urgency, nocturia, and urge incontinence, small voided volumes. All these are very, very common symptoms associated with BPH, can be due to obstruction and can be due to irritation. The obstructive symptoms are urinary hesitancy. The male patient, they hesitate to start the urination. There is straining, there is difficulty in starting the urination. They have a weak stream, terminal dribbling, prolonged voiding, incomplete emptying. So all these are different features associated with the benign prostate hypertrophy. Then we have irritative symptoms, which are the urgency, nocturia, urge incontinence, and small voided volumes. These are the symptoms associated with BPH. Treatment of BPH is the symptoms. They are measured using validated reproducible index. This is the uroflowmetry that tells how is the flow of the urine, that gives how much is the obstruction and how well is the flow. So that's the uroflowmetry. Serial AUASI, hematuria, infection, bladder stone, we need the surgery in those cases. Uroflowmetry, which identify those with normal flow rates. Then we have pressure flow studies, detect primary bladder dysfunction, and cystoscopy is examination of the bladder with the help of cystoscope if hematuria is documented before surgery. So cystoscopy is performed only before surgery if hematuria is present. These are some tests done for the BPH, and then different uroflowmetry, pressure flow studies, and cystoscopy. Asymptomatic, not require treatment regardless of gland size. If the patient is asymptomatic and there is enlargement of the prostate gland, we don't need to treat the patient because there are no symptoms present, no discomfort associated with the hypertrophy. Also, the drugs that can be used, we have alpha adrenergic receptor antagonist, reduce the sympathetic tone of bladder outlet, decrease resistance and improve urinary flow. Then we have 5-alpha reductase inhibitors which treat static aspect of BPH, reduce prostate volume and have albeit delayed effect. So these drugs have delayed effect. The noticed a lot of people told that they have delayed effect of this drug. They reduce the prostate volume and they treat the static aspect of benign prostate hypertrophy. So alpha adrenergic receptor antagonist and 5-alpha reductase inhibitors are used for the treatment of benign prostate hypertrophy. Some other treatment options are PDE5 inhibitors, which is for the treatment of phosphodiesterase 5 inhibitors, treatment of erectile dysfunction like sildenafil, vardenafil, tadalafil, and then we have sildenafil they have hypotensive effects. Anticholinergics are also used for the treatment. Then we have some surgical approaches that can be used. Transurethral resection of prostate. Transurethral resection of the prostate, that's the resectoscope, and then the prostate tissue is removed. Resection of the prostate tissue is performed, that is hypertrophy. Surgical therapy is used as second-line therapy. So first line is the drug therapy. The goal of surgical therapy is to reduce the size, effectively reducing resistance to urine flow. Surgical approaches are transurethral resection, transurethral incision, removal of gland, which can be retropubic, suprapubic or perineal, transurethral ultrasound-guided laser-induced prostatectomy, stents and hyperthermia. So all these are different treatment options for the surgical approaches for the patient with benign prostate hypertrophy. Transurethral resection of prostate, transurethral through the urethra incision, removal of gland can be done, prostatectomy through retropubic, suprapubic or perineal routes, transurethral ultrasound guided laser induced prostatectomy, stents and hypothermia. So these are surgical approaches. So that concludes our lecture and that concludes our topic, benign prostate hypertrophy. Again, very common condition in elderly men, and as long as there is no symptom, no abnormality associated with this, we cannot need to treat the condition. The first line of therapy is by the drug therapy. Second line is by different surgical approaches to improve the patient condition. That was all about our topic, benign and malignant changes of the prostate. Thank you for watching sqadia.com.